Hey, I want to talk a little bit about why my grandma quit having kids. Well, truth is, she was pregnant probably 20% of her life. She lived to be 58 years old. I figured that about 14 and a half years she was pregnant in that time. 16 kids she had, and they all lived, which is a really wonderful record. That wasn't really that unusual. When I was a kid in elementary school, I knew a lot of people who their grandparents had 10 kids, 8 kids. That was, five, six, that was nothing. The world has changed. My parents had three. Today, people have, two and done, one and done, whatever. But the thing is that as church planters, as churches that plant, we get to a point where having kids is harder than it used to be. The two largest churches that I've planted basically don't plant anymore. One's busy in the process of reviving the church multiplication process. That's very, very exciting. That's Hope Chapel in Hermosa Beach. But as I talk, I realize that as a pastor, a leader, I'm old. The churches that I've led have gotten old, and we slow down. And there was a time in Oahu when I had to kind of gather everybody together and go, hey, grandma is getting tired here. We're still pumping them out. And, grandmothers are capable of having children. But while we're pumping them out, it's really on you to go the next mile down the road. And they did. And then their offspring did. And their offspring did. That's how come we just discovered a whole bunch of churches in Africa we didn't even know about. And, there's like 2,600 churches around the world that somehow claim their lineage back to us. It's pretty exciting stuff. But an interesting thing happened that probably triggered this, and that is I went on Ancestry.com, figured out that I had subscribed to it years ago, been paying for it, and it's like, oh my gosh, didn't even know that it was my subscription. But I looked up my grandparents, and then I began to find cousins and second and third cousins. When I was a kid getting ready to go off to college, I could count 220 plus first and second cousins because my grandma had 16 kids. Well, I went in there and looked at the list of I don't know what kind of relatives that I have. I never heard of most of those people, but that's the way it should be. A parent has kids, they have kids, they have kids. It goes on from there. That's the way it should be with us. I believe that every church is called to multiply itself, at least to reproduce a couple of times. One and done, two and done, whatever. But the real goal is when we multiply those that can multiply. Take care.